Got it? Good.
Get it, got it, good. Welcome back for another episode of The Man Shreks. I'm JJ.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're here doing the thing. We had a line. We still can't come up with like a good opening line. So we're just going to fumble over it at the beginning of every single episode. And our listeners will get more and more annoyed and abandon us and drown
Abandon us. They've already abandoned us.
No, there's been more listeners because more people are like, who are these people? And they listen to an episode and then they run away screaming and are like,
Well, on behalf of the Man Shreks, I just want to say I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there's like way better podcasts. What are you doing?
It's true. It's true. We can refer you to them if you would like.
I can list them off.
We have lots of recommendations.
No, don't run away. Come back. Come back. Listen to us. Because we're here to make jokes and play games. Are you ready?
I'll trust you.
To approach the news? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. We'll find out.
Yes, I'm ready. All right, so my first story is horrifying and just...
Good. I always like it when you start out with
I know.
horrifying.
It bodes well. So... Doctors remove 150 live bugs from a Florida man's nose.
What, live?
And this is not a Florida man story either. This is like a legitimate. Dozens and dozens of larvae reportedly feeding on the man's nose and sinus cavity. Some as big as the end of a pinky.
Oh, that is so disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I just like it's like it literally is like the stuff of horror movies. It says a Florida man is breathing easier now that 150 live bugs have been removed from his nose.
From his nose, like up in his nasal cavity?
This unidentified patient went to a hospital earlier this month after noticing that his whole face felt like it was on fire. The man started experiencing symptoms in October. It wasn't until recently that they became serious. So he says, gross. Over a couple of hours, my face started swelling, my lips swelled, and I could hardly talk. I couldn't even get up to the bathroom without my nose starting to bleed.
Oh.
He visited HCA Florida Memorial Hospital in Jacksonville and consulted with a doctor who is an ear, nose, and throat specialist. He was shocked when he looked inside the man's nose with a camera and saw dozens and dozens of bugs feeding on the nose and sinus cavity.
That's so disgusting. And also, like, that's gotta have, like, lifelong consequences. I mean, holy smokes.
Oh, my gosh. Ugh, the doctor says, I knew he was in big trouble. There was erosion that was occurring near the base of his skull in very close proximity to his eye and brain.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so he probably would have died.
He would have if he had not gone in. Now he started experiencing this like 5 months ago.
Wow.
And he's going in now because his face started swelling and his nose was bleeding. Oh, I can't imagine, like, how did they not crawl out?
Yeah, like, how did you not notice? Oh, I sneezed and there's a larva in my booger.
Didn't you try blowing your nose or something? Like, says at first the physician tried using suction to remove the insects, which are in the larval stage, but they were too large, so he had to extract them one by one from the man's nose.
That would take forever.
It's like picking giant boogers out of someone's nose.
But that means it's like a surgery.
Oh, they were right up against his skull base, right under the brain, and they had gone through that. If it had gone through that, they would have killed him.
You know, I'm not a man who likes to complain, but sometimes you bring some gross stories.
Oh my gosh. It says the bugs have been sent to an epidemiologist to determine their species, but the patient is expected to make a full recovery. It remains a mystery how the man ended up with the larva in his nose, but he says it could have happened because he has bad hygiene habits when handling dead fish.
Ew.
I used to rinse my hands in the river, but now I'll use cleaner to do a better job and not touch my nose or face, the man told the station.
Guarantee it's eggs. Yeah, he got some eggs on his hand.
Isn't that disgusting?
Yes, it is.
Oh. I'm just like that's like stuff you see in horror movies where like bugs are crawling out of people's noses.
Yeah, that's super gross.
Oh.
Like, wash your hands, man.
Oh my gosh.
Wash your hands, guys. Everybody,
it's
wash
so...
your hands. I'm going to go wash my hands right now.
Ugh, painful.
That is gross.
Please have a better story for me.
I do. I have a much better story. That was a gross story. But my story is man injured in Fairfax County, stolen car crash, steals ambulance from hospital, police say.
So he's harmed in a car crash and he steals an ambulance.
Yes. A Manassas man who was injured after a stolen car went airborne and crashed along Route 50. So he steals the car, then goes all Dukes of Hazzard, flies through the air, crashes, is injured. They take him to the hospital, so he breaks out of the hospital, steals an ambulance from the hospital where he was receiving treatment on Monday night, according to Fairfax County
Did he
Police.
go airborne with the ambulance too?
Let's see. Ricky, he's identified as Ricky Lowe, 32, of Manassas. On Tuesday, a spokesperson with the Fairfax County Police Department on February 20th provided some details to the search for the ambulance theft suspect from the day prior. They say that he was a passenger in a car crash near the ramp at I-66 West. The driver split the roadway while trying to flee from police and hit an embankment, causing it to launch into the air over several lanes and a grassy area.
Oh my gosh!
So, I mean, this thing like went across the road up in the air. According to officials, the car was stolen from Prince William County, and after the crash, 2 firearms and drugs were recovered. 4 other people were injured, and the driver has been charged.
Oh, well, yeah.
So the guy had to go.
So he was a passenger, though, it says.
Yeah, so officer said Lowe had not been yet discharged from the hospital, but he walked away from treatment with an IV in his arm later in the day. Then he jumped into a private transport ambulance at the Fairfax Hospital and stole it. The vehicle has since been recovered. However, they believe he is not in the area after a similar call was made overnight at the Prince William County. So he's still on the at large.
Wow.
So
he really wanted.
I'm getting out of here. Lowe is described as being 300 pounds with a shaved head and tattoos on his arms. He was last seen wearing a medical gown.
And an IV in his arm.
They have a picture of him in the ambulance. In the gown.
Oh, boy.
Apparently, he has an extensive criminal history with firearms and marijuana charges going back to 2014, 2018, and similar charges in late 2023.
Wow.
He's not facing any charges related to the first stolen vehicle, but is now charged with grand larceny for the ambulance theft. So he was actually...
It just seemed like the ambulance is much more of an ostentatious vehicle. Like,
yeah, they're going to know, but
all
it worked.
The things
he got away.
That's true. He did. Maybe he was able to be a little more covert because he could just turn on the sirens and go. No one questioned it.
Way.
Yeah, I'm an emergency vehicle.
I got to get to the hospital in the wrong direction. And then he just up and gets out of there and then parks it somewhere and goes. Oh my gosh.
I can't.
I mean, it's something out of a movie when a guy in a hospital gown walks in and says,
Is this the Batman
clothes.
Dark Knight movie?
I just
drives up in an ambulance and says, I need to buy some clothes.
Yeah,
you could have stolen some scrubs from somebody. I mean, at the very least.
In a hospital gown, he walks up and is like, hey, I need to get some clothes. And then he's on the lam, and he's like, he did it.
That's
he
terrifying.
Got away. So injured in a stolen car. So it does sound like he was not the driver of the car that went airborne. Right. So he was in the passenger seat and he got injured.
Did he have brain trauma? Is that why he's decided to start?
He's like, I am confused, but I'm pretty sure I need
But
to
if he has a criminal history, there's pretty good
he knew
chance.
he knew
exactly what he was doing. Wow. So somebody find that guy.
It's the Dukes of Hazzard. Them Duke boys are at it again.
Whew. Boy.
I just love the visual of hitting the embankment and then sailing over
several lanes of traffic and oh my gosh.
I can see it now, and
it kind of makes you wonder, like, how seriously was everyone injured?
Yeah,
like
hopefully
that
not too bad. It
sounds
didn't say anyone
painful.
died, just that people were
but
all
I would imagine,
people.
like, don't you think the airbags would deploy or something in a situation like that?
I'm sure
like,
it knocked him unconscious. It seems to me like they were not conscious when they got transferred to the hospital.
Obviously, yeah.
Then he wakes up in the hospital, and there's probably cops outside his door, and they were like,
yeah, it kind of makes you wonder.
You know what I mean?
Like, I gotta get out of
hall,
here.
And he's like, I gotta get out of here. It's very like The Fugitive, It's
like a little bit, yeah.
It's exciting, and it's like
at any cost,
gotta
I'll
sneak
get
out of the hospital, and I'm got my IV. Yeah, and they're like, we're not even mad about him being in a car crash. It's like it's the stealing the ambulance thing. We're mad
he
about.
was fine up until.
Well, they said they found guns and drugs in the car, so probably there were charges coming.
Right.
He wasn't in trouble for the.
But he just made it worse.
Yeah, he didn't help himself. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a pretty funny, crazy, bizarro story.
Wow, that is bizarro. This one's a lot nicer.
It's better than having bugs up your nose.
That's true. That's true. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, didn't need to bring that back up.
It was horrifying. Anyway, so this next one is It's just much better.
All right.
Texas woman orders poppy flowers, gets flowers shaped like puppy instead.
No way.
Quote, best mistake ever.
That's so cute. What does a flower shaped like a puppy look like?
What it is a Texas woman is giggling at a recent mishap that occurred when she went to order a bouquet of flowers. So 35-year-old Sarah Hollingsworth from Austin, Texas, runs a baby registry company called Poppy List. So a poppy is a type of flower, right?
Okay. I'm glad you explained because I honestly didn't
it's
know.
a red flower. Yeah, that's
Okay,
where
so we
poppy
gotta-
seeds come from.
Gotcha.
you know.
Isn't that something to do with like in
Opiates?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Is that? Am I crazy to think that?
No, you're
that's
correct.
the thing.
That's
Okay,
why
cool.
in Wizard of Oz, the poppies
the
make them fall
poppy seeds
asleep.
make them fall asleep. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
The poppy seeds will make them fall asleep, but there's a connection there. So anyways,
Drugs are bad, kids.
Lewis Carroll knows. She recently called a local flower shop to order a bouquet of poppy flowers to take with her to an exhibit in San Diego, California. She says, I really wanted some poppy flowers. It's the name of my company, but also it's the flower of California, she told the news station. So the mom of two said that her parents picked up the flowers in California a few days when they realized that there was a miscommunication. At first, I was like, these aren't poppies, she said. And what it is they arranged the flowers to look like a puppy. It's actually really cute if you look at the picture.
Oh my gosh, it does.
They used like mums or
That's so
something.
cute.
Maybe those are
To make it
chrysanthemums. I
kinda
can't
look like a
tell.
little
Maybe
terrier
carnations.
or
They
something.
made it look like a dog. She said, I took off the wrapping and I saw these weird googly eyes and thought, what are those doing there? She had received a bouquet of flowers in the shape of a puppy, not a bouquet of poppies.
That's fabulous. The googly
I just
eyes,
think
that's
it's so
fantastic.
cute. She says, I was crying laughing and thought the mishap was hilarious.
That's so perfect.
She had it's funny thinking back because I remember the clerk asking me how many I wanted, which I thought was strange. But yeah, there's googly eyes on that dog.
I love it.
It's so cute.
Honestly, I love that she had a good attitude about it because she could get all mad and like, that's not, and, you know, I can see this being like a, let me talk to your manager, I'm grumpy at you kind of conversation. But instead she's like, nope, this is amazing. They gave her puppy shaped flowers.
She says,
Was that what they were advertising or did she type it in wrong?
she called the order in.
Okay. And they just,
She called the order in to the the floral shop and said that she wanted a bouquet of poppies and they gave her a bouquet of puppies.
That's amazing.
She said, I remember thinking that it was strange. The clerk asked me how many I wanted. And she said, I'm not sure. I guess 2. And sure enough, this woman ended up with a bouquet of 2 puppies. She says, although it wasn't the original bouquet she ordered, she was so impressed with the design that she kept the puppy bouquet. It acted as the perfect icebreaker at our booth. So she was advertising at an exhibition.
Oh,
so she wanted them on
flowers
her.
I got you.
So
Yeah,
she
yeah.
wanted a bouquet of poppies to have as display on her
thing.
booth at the exhibition.
Okay.
But
I bet that
she put the
worked
puppy
even
up
better.
there anyway, and it was a great icebreaker.
Oh yeah, man.
So apparently she posted a video of the bouquet to TikTok where it has over 4.5 million views.
Cute.
And one user even commented, that is much cuter than poppies.
Well, and I bet more attractive. Like if you just have a bouquet of regular old flowers versus a bouquet that has googly eyes on it, I'm gonna look closer at the googly eyes.
I just think it's so cute.
I'll be like, wait, what is that? And then I'd be like,
A
it's a
bouquet
puppy.
of puppies.
It's my
I
poppy
just can't
puppy
imagine.
bouquet.
That's so cute.
It's amazing.
What a lot better than bugs crawling out your
Yes,
nose.
that's such a good story. I don't know. Puppy bouquets. It's a much better thing to stick in your nose.
Oh gosh.
I'm not going to let it go. I'm just going to keep bringing it up. All right. So now this story is a follow-up. We talked about this when it was announced a couple of months ago because our podcast, we specialize in weirdo stories. That's what we do.
That's what we specialize
We
in.
go and we find hilarious, bizarre stories on the internet and we share them to each
And
other.
you used to market us as a Christian comedy couple.
I know,
There's
that's
nothing
weird.
about that. Like
Nothing
that,
particularly
no.
Christian. Although some of the games we
We're
play.
just mining for weird stories.
Yeah, that's
all
what we do. And so most of our stories there's animal stories, there's world records, and then there's Florida Man stories, right? Like those are the
We've
biggest.
literally done Florida Man
all the time.
episodes.
So good. Like where all our stories come out of Florida Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple of months ago, they announced that they were going to have the Florida Man Games.
That's right.
Which was an intentional, a live competition, kind of like a festival thing, right? Where
Right.
people come, they can spectate, and then they have different competitors compete in these ridiculous games based on real life events of the Florida Man news
Right.
stories. And so the Florida Man Games happened last weekend. And so we got to talk about it. Florida Man Games, big crowds cheer competitors who are evading police and wrestling over beer.
Wow.
They rose up by the dozens from all across Florida, caricatured competitors in tank tops and cutoff shorts for a showdown that treats evading police and wrestling over beer like Olympic sports.
Wow.
It was promoted as the most insane athletic showdown on earth. The Florida Man's Games poke fun at the state's reputation for bizarre stories that involve brawling, drinking, gunfire, reptile wrangling, and other antics, carrying a risk of time in jail or intensive care.
Oh my God. That fits.
I love it. I think it's so funny. The games kicked off on Saturday with the Star-Spangled Banner played on the electric guitar. The spectators sipped canned beer behind metal barricades and cheered and frequently shouted expletives as dozens of teams battled in contests inspired by real events.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's
It's a
thing.
classy thing.
Oh, it's super, super classy. James Gordon of DeLand won the first event. He wolfed down a plate loaded with barbecued pork and sausage in a fraction of a second before his nearest competitor, and then he chugged a beer to celebrate. He said, "I've lived in Florida my whole life."
Nice accent.
They're calling these events. I'm calling this Tuesday afternoon. There was an expletive I deleted.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
One event had contenders dueling in muddy water in an inflatable pool, pummeling each other with weapons made from pool noodles and duct tape. That sounds actually super fun.
I was going to say, that
There was
sounds
another
like
that was a
kids do.
theft simulation relay while they had to race while carrying a pair of bicycles, copper pipes, and catalytic converters.
Oh my God.
They had to pretend-
How realistic.
They were pretending that they were running away from the police. Larry Donnelly trained for the relay by riding a bicycle around his neighborhood with a second bike strapped onto his back. Quote,
Just a visual of that alone is...
quote, "I have an absolute disregard for self-preservation. I will do anything." Just, oh, man.
Oh, boy.
There was the team that did alligator wrestling and other events involved contenders wrestling sumo style while holding pitchers of beer or running from
Pitchers
actual
of
sheriff's
beer.
deputies while jumping fences and avoiding obstacles.
Are they wearing hospital gowns? Because
Oh
then it's more
gosh,
realistic.
So good. They paid real money, $45 per ticket or more, to watch the games at the Francis Field in downtown St. Augustine.
Wow.
Holy smokes. Just amazing.
Wow.
This guy said he and his wife made the 180-mile trip from Port St. Richie, where they're from, to watch the stupidity occur on the grandest, most spectacular scale.
What? Okay. That's crazy.
Organizer says he expects the ticket sales to exceed 5,000. I can't imagine.
That's hilarious. Who came up with this idea?
The organizer's name is Pete Melfi. His name is Pete Melfi, and he was stunned to find that no one else had beaten him to the ripped from the headlines idea for spoof sporting.
That is true. Like, I feel like
He's
that's
like, I can't believe nobody
prime.
else has done this.
That's such a good idea.
It is. It's such a funny thing. And I can't believe that it's not on like the same TV show as like American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
Or what's the one where they're always falling off of platforms into the mud? It's like, is it called Splat or?
Oh, I don't know. I only
Kaplat?
know American Ninja Warrior.
There's the one where they have like spinning things and they have to dodge around them and they always get knocked off.
Oh, Wipeout?
Wipeout. That's what it is.
Yeah, I do know that one.
I feel like that's
That's true. It's along the same vein.
It
It needs to be on. Yeah, it needs to be on that Game Show Network or whatever.
They apparently had to. They had to tone down the stories a little bit to make it legal. He's like, well, typically in the Florida Man stories, there's drugs and nudity, but the city frowned on it when I asked for drugs and nudity.
There will be no drugs and no nudity.
We're very grateful for that. You know.
Yeah, that's much better.
Oh my gosh, Florida has 22 million residents. It's the third largest population of any U.S. state, and they they share all of that with 130 million tourists per year. Wait, is there a large tourist attraction of some sort down in Florida?
There's nothing.
I can't
nothing
think of
in Florida.
what,
Just Florida Man.
Just Florida. It's all that.
Everybody goes down there to see Florida Man. That's the only thing enticing people.
There weren't very many games specifically for women. They're hoping that changes as the games continue. They want to see more women's events because most of them were just men doing dumb stuff. There was only one women's event, and they were like, "We need more." That was one comment that came out of here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it just keeps going. I'm only halfway through this article. It's crazy.
That's so funny. I really am shocked, though, that someone hasn't thought of that before, because I feel like that's like such a long-running joke, like Florida Man, Florida Man, Florida Man.
For years and years.
How has no one ever come up with that? Like, there's so many ridiculous, like, game shows and, like, special events and, like, group things that happen, and it's like, why did no one else do this sooner?
Oh, so good, though.
It's just ripe for the...
I love it. So the Florida Man games happened. I hope they went well. I hope nobody got hurt.
Becomes an annual thing, right?
I feel like probably it will, you know.
It needs to have a permanent...
The question is, did it make them money? You know, if it made a bunch of money and people had a lot of fun, I'm guarantee it'll be.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know,
I'm sure.
That's kind of how it works.
I'm so sure.
Are you ready for Sponsor Your Life?
Yes.
All right, what do you got?
So this past weekend, I took the boys.
Yes.
You were out of town.
I was.
And so I went out of town too. And I took the boys and, well, our daughter. It's not just boys anymore.
That's true.
And we all went across the state to stay with my parents. And my niece turned 1.
Yay.
So, yeah, because she's listening. So we went to her birthday party, and that was just a fun time. I got all the pictures and the updates, and it looked like you guys had. It was a good time. Yeah, I tried to take some pictures because I always forget, but it was good. It was just really nice to see my family again. Obviously, I got to stay with my parents, and that was nice to have them help out with the boys when you were gone, and it was just good to catch up. My sister and her husband have 4 kids, and then I saw my brother and his wife and their 2 kids, and everybody like that was there. There were so many children. It was great. It was really fun, but it was a lot of kids. Like, well, and it wasn't because all 10, of it was just 11 because my grandparents have 11 grandkids, right? So, because Maggie has another one there, but then on Tom's side of the family, like he has a lot of nieces and nephews as well, so there was just a lot of children in that house. That's awesome. It was a fun, very loud, very energetic group, and it was good to catch up with all of them too. Like there are people that I haven't seen in a long time, like because obviously like I grew up, I mean our family grew up, you know, with Tom and his family, so we've known them for a long time. But yeah, it was just good to see everybody, to catch up, you know, head to a birthday party and all that fun jazz with all the kids, you know, clamoring over the kids opening gifts. So it was good. That's so good. Let's see. So yeah, this past weekend I was out at Bayshore Camp. I was speaking at a lead retreat, which was like high school and college students who are going to be leaders at the Bayshore Camp this upcoming summer. And I got to say, sponsoring my life is just jamming with the worship team. The guys who led worship, I was the preacher for the weekend, and they had a worship team, but they were down a guy. They were missing a bass player. I haven't played bass in forever, but I know how technically. And so I was like, well, I can help out. And so they brought a bass from their church. And they were just these really talented guys from a Radiant City church out in Bay City, which is a branch of the Radiant City Church, which comes out of Kalamazoo. But they did it really well. Even though it was a mobile setup and they like set it all up in a couple hours, they did a great job. And it was just so much fun playing with those guys. And I just haven't done that in a while, you know, with the whole band. And it was a good time. And honestly, it was fun. We learned I learned a few new songs I'd never played before. Cool. And it was really fun jamming on the bass. That's awesome. I grew in my respect for bass players because I usually give them a hard time. I used to make fun of them because they're just like one note instead of whole chords and stuff. So I used to poke fun. But no, it was a lot of fun. And that's great. They were just talented. It's fun to play when you're
like when everyone else is better than you. You know, it just you feel like it elevates you and challenges you to go above and beyond.
Right.
So yeah, playing worship music with friends, whether new friends or old, that sponsored my life because it was so fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Hey everybody, little note from JJ here. We tried a new game this week and it just didn't go very well. We didn't enjoy it as much. And so we did cut that part out. And this week was just crazy with the selling of our house and we were not able to record another segment. We are looking, so this is kind of a half an episode. That's all we got for you this week. We'll be back next week with a normal episode and we're going to go back to some of our games that we love. But yeah, we tried something new. It didn't work. And so that's why this episode is just a little short. But you guys have a great week. Bye.